Good morning, everybody. Good morning from a slightly cooler, and I have no idea if it's sunny or not yet, Melbourne, Florida. In the upper 60s out there this morning. It's like wintertime for me. So, long sleeve shirt. Look at this. First time for the season. Long sleeve shirt. How about that? How about that? Welcome. Early birds. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Even kilts stayed in bed. Sunday morning. And 36 brave souls are with us already. How about that? Look who's here. Look who's here. At any rate, let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. I know there's something I'm supposed to do now. Oh yeah. God, this cup is heavy. I can grab a hold of it. Drink it if you got it. And I got a big ass cup of it this morning. And that makes I was outside, my glasses got cold. The steam just fogged them up. How about that? That's good. That's good. So how's everybody this morning? Good to see you. Good to see you. It's open panel Sunday. Yes, it is. We'll see how many people brave being live on YouTube this morning. Like to see a lively discussion. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things going on, which we'll talk about. So I'm not going to do much of a monologue this morning. I think I'm going to get right to it, and I'll just start welcoming people while we see if anybody comes in and joins me this morning on this Sunday. What is today? The 12th? I think so. I think it's the 12th. Is it the 12th? Yes. 12th of October already. Let me post that link in the chat. Pin it to the top. So it'll be there for anybody who should want to come anytime during the stream and join us. Join me. Tuka already said that he probably won't make it with us this morning, but he'll be listening. So hello, Tuka. So, Lewis is here already. Okay, good. I'm not going to be so lonely this morning. There he is. First one in this morning, Proud American, yesterday, and Mary, second, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Rick, Georgia Mopar, see you in the morning, Don Schauger. Mandy Beddoes, and Tuka said, what else to do at 2:30 in the morning? And he said he won't be here today. Lewis says, I'll be there. And Lewis is a man of his word. Nikki W. That was at 10:30 last night. Lady June about midnight over in England, early in the morning. Feral Grandma. One of the Insomniacs at 1:55 p.m. Jem says, Mitch and Mitch Fitz, see you in the morning. Sad about Jordan Peterson in the hospital. His daughter had a heartfelt message. I watched him when first started Carnivore. They're asking for prayers. Yeah, it's a pretty wild situation, and we could talk a little bit about that as well. Mike Seeley this morning. Hi, Michael. How are you? Michael Pregler and Lucy Work. Good morning to you, Lucy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mike Seeley Sr. checked in. Brian Dish checked in with us. Good morning, Mitch and all the Mitch Fits. Start of week 42. Wow, this year is getting along. Chris Swain from Australia. Good evening to you, Chris. How are you? Thomas is here. Good morning, Thomas. Glad to see you. Susanna Lydell. Good morning, Mr. Mitch. A little respect. I'll drink to that. It doesn't take much for me to drink to it. I looked over to the left of my current chat, and I see my buddy Chris Hope is here. Hi, Chris. How are you, man? Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Donna Ray is here, main runner. I'll be driving and listening for the first hour. Well, we'll see when you get back here to the chat. Enjoy it. Roxanne Friend says hello from Tullahoma, and Loretta's here. Hi, Loretta. Good morning to you. Peter chimed in at 6:58. Jeff S. at 6:59, and Peter again at 6:59. Patty's Garden at 6:59, and no surprise, Lambs got here at 7, followed immediately by Lewis, Tuca, Robbie Autry, Rick, all 7 o'clock. Let's see. Thomas again. Jerry in the middle of her forest is here. How you doing? Peter says winter is coming. We're not quite done with summer yet, I don't think. But, boy, are they having some weather, Peter. Going to have some weather up in the Northeast. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Patty says, good morning, Mitch. And Rick says, rainy season is over, but it is still hot here. Rick, how long have you been living in Florida, man, my friend? It's been an unusual hurricane season for us here in Florida. Hurricanes have been conspicuous by their absence, but at this point, to say it's over would be dangerous for us, because officially it's November, late November, when officially the season ends, and we've had some real whoppers of storms mid to late October and well into November. So let's not tempt fate. There aren't many people watching here this morning, so I'm not worried about it, but let's not celebrate quite yet. We got, I'm afraid, plenty of rain coming. As my buddy Chris Hope, how you doing? Good to see you. And people are starting to have conversations already, and we're after 7 o'clock. And so far, I only see Lewis in there, but he has evidently wandered off to get some coffee or something. Brian Dish, Peter again. Rick, I just watched your interview with a young guy. Who was he? That sounds like some Chinese food, Peter. Have you ever heard about that Chinese dish? some young guy was out a rim shot now. That was bad. Sandy Blythe, good morning to you. How you doing? How you doing? Joey Schwartz? How old was that interview, Rick? I'm gonna have to hear about that one. If that was Joey Schwartz. That was a Carnivore camaraderie, and he's been gone for a while now. Got it. It's 70 down in Boca. Wow. Yeah, Joey burned out and gave up going carnivore. Joey was driven out of carnivore, Rick. Joey was not that far off base, but he just didn't know how to handle it. He really didn't know how to handle it. And for those of you that don't know, he was a young kid. He had registered for college in California, out in Berkeley or something. He was a carnivore, and he started making videos about the heat and grief he was getting from the community, the people at Berkeley, the dietitians, how they could accommodate him. And he got so upset about all this, eventually he never went, or he dropped out early from college. And it was drama sells on YouTube, so people started to notice him. Ken Berry noticed him. Bart K fell all over himself and started featuring Joey. Joey got tens of thousands of subscribers, started to make a little money. Young kid. What was he, 19, 20 tops? Got very full of himself. Then he went on this you shouldn't cook your food tangent. Not that that's unusual, but back then it was something we didn't hear a lot. He started talking about eating raw only. And then he started demeaning and finding fault with people like Ken Berry and Bart K on his YouTube videos, insulting them because they didn't know as much as Joey Schwartz, did. Then Joey started offering his services as a coach. And he would bill his time out at $100, $200 an hour, claiming to be the only expert on YouTube that could really help anybody. Meanwhile, he's making videos telling people to eat raw chicken and raw pork and raw everything, and insulting Bart K and Ken Berry. Well, that didn't last too long. So Bart K made a reaction video to one of Joey's videos, and that just fired things up. And those two went back and forth insulting each other until nobody wanted to even know who this kid was anymore. He got so obnoxious. And that's what happens when you're young and you don't really know anything. You think you know everything. And he finally gave up and went away. I don't know, he's still on YouTube doing something else, but and he interviewed Rick. Wow. I have to find that interview. I'd love to see that. That's a shame, too, because he could, if he had just kept his head, he could have really been something on YouTube. Sandy Blythe. I still trying to figure out who's Anthony's here. Okay, well, we got Thomas and Lewis in the panel, so we can get started here pretty soon. Michael Pregler says it's in the 40s where he is. Jerry Voitis is with us. Hi, Jerry. And Turamir, he's chimed in. How you doing? How you doing? Anybody I missed? Steve Rogers, Captain America. And speaking of superheroes, I'm going to get dangerous now, folks. I have a button. I now have a new button. A new button. And when I press my new button, this is what happens. Ant-Man appears. What do you think of that, huh? And I can do that anytime I want. I can do it again right now. I don't have to go look for it. I don't have to do all that stuff. I don't have it playing sound. But I could do that anytime. I think it's appropriate now. Let me know if you think I'm overdoing it. I'll try not to. Honest to God, I'll try not to. But you know how I am with buttons. You give me buttons to push, things happen. All right, we're up to 7:04. Let's go another minute or two, and then we'll get to the panel. Loretta Nadow, Chris. Chris is here. Juilliard. Good morning from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Good morning, Chris. Welcome. Somebody new. Haven't seen you here before. Glad you stopped in. And Bob K. All the drone guys are here this morning. Bob Casey. Right after Chris Hope. Holy cow, I'm going to have to go out and get my drones out. What do you know? Good to see both of you guys here. Oh, what a pleasure. What a thrill for me. The two of the greatest guys that ever lived. Both of them. Both of them. I told you, Bob Casey is the guy that coined Professor Mitch. And Chris Hope is the only guy in the world that never forgets my birthday and still doesn't to this day, from Texas. And I always talk about what a gentleman, or what gentlemen both of these people are. And Bob Casey says, Brother Chris Hope, good morning. How about that? Little drone conversation in the Carnivore chat. I love it. I love it. Takes me back. Karen, is it Hardju? Karen Hardju. Good morning. Good morning to you. And Chris says, morning back to Brother Bob. That's a very close-knit community as well. Yeah, they've really got a nice community going on there. Tanya's here. Kitchen Witch, how are you? How are you? And Peter had a banner day yesterday at City Furniture. Congratulations, Peter. The crowd's happy, and glad to hear you're doing good. Okay. I think I've hit everybody up. I'm sure I'll get more people come in, but let's get on to it. So, first one in the chat this morning. Unmute your mic, Lewis. There you go. And I get rid of all the superfluous stuff on the screen. Yes, yes, yes. And here he is, my friends.
Good morning.
Good morning, man. Look at you. You're looking YouTubey there with that purple backlight and everything. Wow.
Oh, there are purple lights. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. You've been watching too many videos about how to build a YouTube studio and how to light a YouTube studio.
I was running late this morning because we have a big storm coming. You mentioned it. So I had to feed the cats at 7, so I'm usually doing that when you first start. And but I always feel better when I get my walk in. So I was like, oh, Mitch is at 7. So I started walking I did 2.5 miles at like 5:30, 6. I think I left around 6:10 a.m. Because I want to get it, once the rain starts, then I'm going to be in the house all day. So.
That's going to be some rain, too. They're calling for winds over like 60 miles, 50, 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, so.
A northeaster without the snow.
So I jumped on to show that you weren't going to be alone, because I know you always wonder if you're going to be alone in the morning. And then
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You did what?
Then I had my camera off while I fed the cats. I was making my
Yeah, I
coffee.
saw that. Yeah. And then
But I'm here
Thomas.
now.
Yeah, and Thomas popped in, so I figured, okay, I got three of you. We got three of us here. May as well get going. And come on, people. Links in the chat. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
They're talking a little bit about the new Dr. Lisa video that she dropped this morning. I'm sure you didn't have time to watch it yet.
Well, I actually saw it and with Zane Griggs, and I have his book, Kicking Ass After 50, that I got from him. It's Ken Berry's book, I got from him 2 years ago in Orlando, and I met him and actually spent a couple hours in conversation with him. Nice guy, and he's the guy they picked to narrate the animal movie, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Nice guy, pretty knowledgeable, but I just saw the beginning of that. I'm going to watch it because they're going to be talking about something that's happening, and more carnivores are adding carbs, and I think it's nothing new.
They play a couple clips from other influencers that play part of Dr. Kiltz's I don't know, video that he released the other day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is Kiltz eating carbs? I feel like he's not really.
No, Kiltz has changed nothing.
Yeah.
Except he's added fish, which is still pure animal farm. But Kiltz has what they forgot. What they forgot about Kiltzy. And we had a nice video chat, he and I, Friday morning after the live stream.
Nice.
And we talked for about an hour and a half. And I came away from that conversation and I told him, I said, what we say is personal. It's not for everybody's, consumption.
Sure.
But what I came away with, the impression that I came away with was he has always said, and you've heard him, that he's not a carnivore Nazi. He's always said, occasionally I'll have a martini. Occasionally I'll have a French fry. Yep. Occasionally I'll have an avocado. It's nothing new. It's nothing to panic about. I think we've taken it way too far with carnivore as far as being strict. And if you have to be strict, like I do, because your carb addiction won't let you even eat one French fry or one blueberry, then that's what you have to do. You have to treat it like you're an alcoholic. You can't have any. But if you're not at that level of carb addiction, you're not killing yourself. You're not ruining carnivore by having an occasional carb or occasional broccoli or something. So we've overdone it, and we've created people who are, it's a cult. It has the makings of a cult with a bunch of purists in it. And life can't be that strict, in my opinion. Anyway, let me bring in Thomas to this conversation. Hey, Thomas, how are you?
Hey.
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Oh, look at you. No beard today. When did that happen?
As soon as I went too close to the weed whacker.
Ah.
Watch out for that weed whacker.
I hate
It'll
it when
grow
that
back.
happens.
It always does.
Yeah. I've never done that yet. Never accidentally shaved off part of my mustache. Someone said, "Oh shit, I better shave it all off." I haven't done that. I grew this beard in 1970.
Wow.
And I haven't ever been without it. No one alive on planet Earth today, except my sister, has ever seen me clean shaven. Not my kids.
Wow.
Neither of nobody. Only my sister.
Right. Everyone else
knows what I look like without the beard, and she doesn't remember. More than likely.
We can use AI.
Oh yeah, you can. You saw that one I have with the big beard.
Yeah. Just do the opposite, right?
Right.
Yeah. So good to see you, man.
Thank you.
We're well represented by New York today and the potential storm
Yeah.
landfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to start. I think they said around. I mean, I think it looks like it's going to be more tomorrow now. I don't know.
They're saying something about power.
I have off from work. I have off from work tomorrow because it's Italian Heritage Day. It's my day.
Italian. Hey, that's nice, you know.
It's Columbus Day, but we can't call it that.
Forget about it. Yeah, you're not allowed to say Columbus Day anymore. Of all the
He was a bad guy.
politically correct nonsense.
So now it's Italian Heritage Day and Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, great.
Well, guess what day it is for me? It's a day off, so you can call whatever the hell you want.
Columbus Day.
Who cares what it's called?
It's Columbus Day, and there's still the Washington Redskins, as far as I'm concerned. They can call them whatever they want. We have lost control in this world, and I see it happening in the carnivore community now. Why do people feel the need to take everything to such extreme and make controversies? It's because we can't live without drama, I think. We need the drama.
There always has to be something.
It is. It's always that. And Gilda Radner, remember her?
From Saturday Night Live?
Emily Litella
Yeah.
from Saturday Night Live. Emily Litella, she would say. It's always something. And it is. So I'm going to watch that thing later with Lisa.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your. It's so funny. When I was walking, I listened to it while I was walking, and I was gonna email it to you and be like, "Could you watch this quick before?" But I know your mornings are like you're just getting ready, and you know. But you did see it, which was good. You saw that it was up there. But and another good thing was it was a short video. It was like only like 30 something minutes. It wasn't like this monster hour-long video, you know. So.
Well, that's it. These live streams are okay being long because they're live streams. People come and go and come and go, and nobody's has to say, "Oh my God, if I leave now, I'll miss the plot. I'll miss what happened." Right. It just happens, you know. But even when I make a 25-minute video in the kitchen, because sometimes it takes that long to cook the bacon and eggs and all that, I say, "Wow, these are way too long, way too long." You got to keep your videos on YouTube. 10, 12, 15 minutes is probably the optimal length. And the videos that I make that are shorter always get a lot more views because people, they don't make the commitment. When they see that timestamp up there, 6 hours and 45 minutes, they say, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I have a life. But it says 7 minutes. You say, oh, what the hell? I can invest 7 minutes. It sounds like it might be interesting. So it's better to break them up into shorter videos. Tough for me because I can be very verbose, as you know. We have Kelly, Broken Carnivore, has entered the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly?
With no further ado, we will bring Kelly into the stage, smiling and happy. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. Having my coffee.
That's right, Kelly. How's it going? Good morning.
I'm doing pretty good, Louis.
I pushed the golf button there. I took a drink of coffee. It seems to I think it's very, very small sip, and I almost want to breathe it instead of swallow it. So, yeah, I got to be careful. I had to take big gulps. Still hot because I got this coffee warmer. This is a huge cup. You can see it
looks pretty big.
It's a full fist handle,
and it looks like a thick cup, like a.
It is very thick, and it's also very funny shaped. It's almost it's halfway melted on the kiln.
And that's the way it came. It still fits on the warmer.
Yeah. This warmer is. It's actually not only does it fit, but it's got a 1/2 inch overlap too.
That's cool.
So I could get a cup that was a 1/2 inch bigger than this, and it still fit on the warmer. That warmer's big enough for anything you're gonna put on it.
And here's my big ass cup.
That's a big cup, and a lot of money in one place.
Yeah.
I just have my 20-year-old sentimental dad cup.
Those are the best.
Yeah. So this thing of Lisa's, I think nothing's nothing has changed. There's a few influencers, a couple of doctors who say that you need to, and I know Ben Azadi, you know Ben Azadi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wrote a book called Keto Flex.
Yep.
Keto Flex.
Oh,
Got it.
cool.
It's one of the first books I bought. You know, I said, well, that sounds like a reasonable thing. And this was back in the days when I was still looking for an excuse to continue to eat carbs. And I said, oh, there's a great excuse. I'm going to read it in this book, and it's going to convince me that I have to eat carbs. And there you go. So I'll be doing the right thing, and maybe killing me, but that's it. And I didn't read the whole book. I read part of the book, and I said, I think it might not be a real thing. And then I'd be watching guys like Sean Baker and Anthony Chafee and people like Rick that have been doing carnivore for 100 years and haven't died yet. Although this thing about Jordan Peterson right now is going crazy. You all heard about Jordan Peterson?
I have no idea why he's in the hospital.
Well, I don't think anybody does, but
Oh, okay. I thought I was missing something.
well, I listened to his daughter's explanation. They don't know. The well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but let me get finished with this carb thing first, because you know how I am. I go off down a rabbit hole and I forget which rabbit hole I came off of.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the GPS in your car. You know, you set it for route planning, okay? And it puts a blue line on the GPS. I don't know if you guys have that in your cars, but and then as you drive, the blue line behind you goes away.
Mm-hmm.
You can always see where you're supposed to go, but sometimes if you forgot, you can't find out where you've been because it's gone. And my memory is like that when I go from one subject to another. So we're talking about the carb thing. See, that's what I'm saying. I had it all laid out in my head.
You were talking about the flexing.
Oh, flexing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, should remember that. But that's the downside of not planning and not scripting anything, of just letting your mind wander, because your short-term memory lasts about 10 seconds. You know that. That's the way it's supposed to work. And all of these things, all these speeches I make, even though they go on for an hour or half an hour, they are built in short-term memory, not long-term memory.
Sure.
They came in as a flash. You either use them or you lose them. It makes you look airheaded sometimes. On the other hand, it gives me the ability to talk intelligently for a half an hour on a subject and have everything tied together, because I can plan forward in my head. But what's behind me it's like the grooves of a record after it's been played. It's out of the picture. It's useless then. So I decided not to do the flexing stuff. And when I finally gave up the carbs, because even Carnivore triggered my addiction, I never could stop thinking about them. Blueberries. Some people have sugar plum fairies dancing in their head. Me, it's blueberries and ice cream. I said, I gotta do this. And that's when I brought Jordan Peterson up, because he and his daughter are the same way, but they do it for allergy reasons. It kills them. They can't eat the carbs. But then a few doctors like Robert Sivas, and some of them kept coming up.
2 1-hour videos, like with PowerPoint slides. Have you seen his last videos around?
No, I don't watch them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't watch. I don't watch him anymore.
Yeah.
I think he's a brilliant guy,
He is.
but he's an infomercial. He's an infomercial.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean an infomercial has to be wrong, but I'm tired of watching his infomercials.
And listen, I think in some ways everyone's an infomercial, but he's like skewed to that side much. Like you notice it. You notice it.
Well, you have to notice it. You have to notice it. There's no. I don't find any fault with recommending a good air fryer or something like that. But his whole YouTube channel is devoted to selling appointments with him. And 2 years ago, I tried. I called his office 3 times. I left messages to call him. Nobody ever got back to me. Nobody ever had the courtesy to even return one of my calls. I wanted to go down there and meet the guy.
When was that? Was that
A couple of years ago when he first started out? They never called me back. And I basically said, F you, Robert Cybus. You're a smart guy. I'll listen to you, but I'll be goddamn if I'm going to get involved in your stuff. And all he is, and he probably does some good. I've read some recounts of people that met him. He puts you through the mill. Every test known to man, every appointment, come back. And people spend a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And whether he comes up with anything that's any more valid than the advice that Thomas gives to you, I don't know. I don't know.
His fee is much lower than a lot of other doctors.
Oh, it is, but he doesn't do it himself now. You're lucky if you even get to see him. He's got this person and that person and this dietitian and that one and he's got it's a mill. It's a mill, and good for him. He's entitled to make money. I don't ever deny anybody, but don't come on YouTube as a goody two shoes when you're pimping for your business, and that's all you're doing. So that's how I feel. Now, that's my opinion. Maybe that's a little too harsh on him. But I don't know. I know he struggles himself personally.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever really got his own addiction under control. And if that's the case, as somebody who really suffers with that, he lost his credibility with me. Like taking diet advice from a 300-pound doctor. You know.
What I think is interesting, what he is saying, what Dr. Lisa is saying, I guess what Benazati has been saying all this time, is just around, that whole flexibility, and one thing that I still don't know yet is, and I don't know when Dr. Lisa is going to share this information, but like what carbs should I introduce?
Oh, and everybody's going to be different, Louis.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It's like saying everybody should take blood pressure medication.
Right. Or statin,
which blood pressure medication? Well, that would require that I actually give you an examination and a lot of blood tests. I can't do that for everybody. So you should be on statins. Everybody should be, and the doctors have that idea. Everybody should be taking. Well, which statin? How much? How heavy a dose? Well, that's statins. You need statins. They haven't even shown. This is great. I was up last night. Woke up. My mind is going a mile a minute. And I'm thinking, and I make speeches in my head at night. I practice. And I got down the cholesterol path in my head. And I'm trying to come up with more understandable ways to explain this whole cholesterol nonsense, because it's killing people. Not the cholesterol, but the worrying about it. And the one point I keep coming to is I have never yet met anyone anywhere in the medical community or outside the medical community that can actually show me any real evidence that LDL is the problem that they say it is. Now, we've got people in our community saying, even Nelson said it yesterday on his interview last night with Robin Hearn. Nelson said, yeah, maybe there's some little thing there, but there's 10 other things that are big considerations before you need to worry about cholesterol. And he started talking about insulin resistance. Well, insulin resistance is not a disease. Insulin resistance is a construct. It's a concept. There's no drugs for insulin resistance. The drug companies can't do anything with that because there's no way to diagnose, because you have to have, and I think that Nelson yesterday used 5 criteria. One of them, you had to be high blood pressure, hypertensive, diabetic, overweight. There was a couple other ones to be considered have insulin resistance, but it is a syndrome, which is what a syndrome is, a whole bunch of things that actually symptoms that point to that occur all together and help you narrow down the diagnosis. So, see, that's what happens. Heading off that, I'm back in my dreams last night. I'm going to making speeches in my head about cholesterol, and I don't want to talk about cholesterol right now. That's not where I want to go with this. I was talking about Cybus and talking about.
Yeah, I had asked about like what carbs do you know?
Oh, what carbs? Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'm glad you remember what you asked me, because I'll go.
Barely.
I'm like an uncontrollable child when it comes to things like that, which is why I can talk all day and never stop. And the stuff I'm saying is usually interesting, but I forget how I got on that road. How do you know what carbs you can eat? You have to figure addiction into it. That's a really individual thing. There are many people that can eat a handful of blueberries or a handful of walnuts, and that's the end of it. Or eat one cookie or one little Reese's cup or one Skittle. There are so many people. Well, fine. If you can do that, it won't hurt you. But if you do that, and it's like an alcoholic, after 10 years being sober, taking a drink, then don't, and you can't. And regardless of what people tell you about how important it is to flex, it's more important not to flex than to binge and return to the standard American diet in the long run. So we all have to make compromises about what we do and be careful whose advice. But this whole thing about adding carbs was not just about flexing. It was just about the fact that the body will ramp up gluconeogenesis.
Yeah.
When you stay on carnivore for years and years and years.
And
so these people think
stress. Your body's stressed all the time.
You're
no,
but
all the time you're stressed.
But I don't feel that way. I never felt that way. My blood sugar.
Stress. Oh, you mean like, yeah, I think, you know.
Yeah, they're talking about it raises your blood sugar a few points, and they're saying, well, you need to eat carbs. Well, what if you don't? Sean Baker's still alive? Is Anthony Chafee still alive? Is Rick still alive? How many carnivores never touch a carb and are okay? So again, that becomes an individual thing. But they really attacking this, from what I've heard, from the angle that, and yes, that we need to flex, but not all of our ancestors did flex. The Eskimos never flexed. People in northern cold climates, you know, just like the people in the Caribbean islands and around the equator were eating a lot of fruit and a lot of things, and we all evolved over different paths, and we're all different. So we need to find out for each of us and ourselves what to do.
And
But
how
for these
often-
people,
How often do you flex? I mean,
yeah,
once a year?
exactly, exactly.
every
You know, how
week?
high
Yeah.
high is the moon? You know,
Right, I know. Yeah.
so we don't know these things. But here's the thing. I'll tell you one thing I know for sure. Well, I know for sure that Peter's here. Hi, Peter.
Hello.
How are you? Good morning.
I was interested. The conversation is really interesting.
Well, good. So anyway, I was going to say one thing I know for sure. Is that there are too many YouTubers, me included. No offense, guys, but there's just way too many people in the carnivore YouTube space. It's a good thing because it means there's more carnivores, but the number of views each of us gets on our videos aren't going anywhere. They go down and down and down. If you're monetized, the amount of money you make every month goes down and down and down. More and more live streams. So, if you want to be a YouTuber like I do, or Lewis, or Thomas, Peter, you're the only one here that is not a YouTuber.
I'm not a YouTuber. I don't put videos out.
Well, okay. No, you don't. That's right. Okay. That's right. I just see you everywhere. I kind of assume you're...
I disappear, right? Yeah, no.
Nah, that's great. You got a job, though. See, you actually work. Guys like me.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you too,
I'm trying to
Thomas.
balance.
No, I'm not finding fault with anybody. I'm telling you why
It's too much.
we
right?
end up getting these oddball topics come up is because the people who are been around a while, like the Ken Berries and those guys, and Lisa Wiedemans and Zane Griggs and whoever else they showed the videos from, these guys need to find something to talk about. They can't just interview the same people that everybody else interviews. They need something that sells that video. So they have to create a clickbaity kind of thumbnail and title that, are you killing yourself by not eating carbs? You know, that kind of thing. So people will click on their video. And that's what's driving this whole mess.
Let's see
Honestly,
how many
guys.
Well, just remember, it's just like the sugar diet that came and went. And right now, everyone's seeing this. You know, everyone's starting to talk about adding carbs back in. It's just that everyone's latching onto it because they know that they'll get views. That's all it is.
Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to YouTube. I'm not. When I did it, I talked about the possibility of adding carbs, but I was a real concern for me. I had the stroke. The doctors, you know, as much as I know, you don't listen to all these doctors tell you what's killing you after having a stroke and not take some of it a little seriously. You say to yourself, how can all of these people be so wrong about virtually everything? And then almost you say, well, that can't possibly be. And if it wasn't for the carnivore community and the carnivore doctors that I know, I would have fallen into that. I would have caved. I'd be back to the standard American diet. I'd probably weigh 250 pounds now. I'd be hurting and sick and maybe even dead. But that's what happens to you. You don't know what to take seriously or not in this world where everything is a sales pitch. Everything is everybody trying to sell you everything. That's what it's all about. So we all fall into the traps. And so do I. With my carb addiction, cheering me along. My carb addiction is a cheerleader.
I can tell you this. There's some people that, even the Lisa Wiedemans, they're always looking. She's always searching for something different, Mitch. You know what I mean? Which is okay. I mean, she's doing it in a very thoughtful, good way. Look who we have here.
Yeah.
But she's doing it in a thoughtful way. But there are people that are always measuring. They're always getting the all these blood work, and they're testing their ketones, and they're changing out all this and that, and they're searching. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, Dr. Lisa is in great health. She's been a carnivore, strict carnivore for so long, but she's constantly searching to get even better, and that's okay. I don't fault her for that whatsoever. But there's other ones that are like, hey, if it's not broke, why fix it? Look at Rick, right? I mean, well, he's broken in other ways.
Everything around him is broke.
He's very broken in other ways.
Everything around him is broken.
Yeah.
Listen, during the live stream yesterday, I don't want to change the topic.
So, hi, Rick. How you doing? DC, how you doing, buddy?
Good to meet you guys.
Good to see you. Hey, thanks for stopping in.
Hey, DC.
Hey, good guys. I just want to say, like, actually, I feel like going on a bit of a rant, but all these people are jumping up and down, so like they're having problems with the carnivore diet, and okay, at best, all right. Now, like, I'm gonna say, like, I've come from a very different position from most people. And the fact that I was pretty much dead when I started carnivore diet, all right. But at best, like, diet is like 30 to 40% of your journey, maximum. Okay. There are so many other things that are just as important, and these are things that they don't take into account. They just think, okay, well, if I change my diet, I don't have to change the rest of my life. I'm okay. I'm all good. So I think that a lot of the problems that they're having is that they're not. I mean, they're not really. They're only doing half the job, or not even that. I mean, there's so many other things that are involved. Like, see, my shirt here says CO2 is my superpower, right? People don't understand, like, CO2, like the way you breathe, the efficiency of your breath, the gas exchange in your lungs, everything like that, makes a very big difference in the way that the biochemistry works in your body. Okay, like, it's all about the substrate and oxygen, how it's processed in the respiratory system of your mitochondria, right? So,
exactly.
So what's going on there? But the other factor is, like, breath work, actually, the way you breathe also controls your autonomic nervous system, which is connected to all of your organs, which includes your heart, okay, which controls blood pressure and all these other things. But it also controls your digestion. If you are in, for example, fight or flight stage, like if you're always like anxiety or anything like that, you're actually absorbing less nutrients from your food because you're not in that rest and digest vagal state. See, so I think that controlling your nervous system, which you can do through the proper breathing, breath work, this is most of the journey. And don't get me wrong, because like carnivore diet is, for me, the way to eat, because there's, again, that comes down to the biochemistry, where people keep talking about calories, for example. They keep saying, like, fat is, has a lot more calories, has 9 calories, whereas carbohydrates have 4.5. That BS comes from the fact that long chain fatty acids, for example, will give you 3 times more ATP, okay, easy water, and CO2.
Right.
Okay, now CO2 is your miracle molecule. It's one of the miracle molecules in your body. It's a signaling molecule that actually, I'm going to be talking about this in a video this week, actually. It's called the Bohr effect. In 1904, Christian Bohr, he was a scientist in, I think it was Austria or somewhere, but he found that oxidative stress was the fact that you have too low CO2 in your blood, because CO2 is actually the signaling molecule for your hemoglobin to collect oxygen and deliver the oxygen to the cells. Now, if you don't have enough CO2 in your blood cells, the hemoglobin is going to hang on to that onto that oxygen, and that's going to create oxidative stress in your cell, okay, which is the basis for most diseases, including cancer, right? So fat gives you more CO2, so there's one positive start there already, right? But also the way you breathe. If you are a mouth breather, for example, if you breathe through your mouth at night, you wake up with a dry mouth, things like that, you are blowing off too much CO2, for example. and that is also a vasodilator. It's a signaling molecule for oxygen to get into your cells. It's an antioxidant. If you get muscle cramps, it's because you have low CO2 levels. It's also like when you get headaches, you have if you have low CO2, it's you're getting vasorestriction, which means that not only are you getting less blood to your brain, but you're also the hemoglobin's holding on to that oxygen again. It's not getting into the cells, so that causes headaches, and it causes all kinds of other problems.
Now the problem, DC, is the thrust of our world today is to demonize everything that's important and that we need. For example, when you talk to the average person about CO2, what's the message? Carbon
Climate
footprint.
change.
We need to get rid of CO2. We need to get the CO2 levels down to zero on this planet. They don't stop to think that every plant would die. There'd be no oxygen.
Everything,
And cholesterol. Cholesterol is so bad for us. LDL, we need to get it down to zero. Well, wipe out life, why don't you? So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But here's the problem.
They demonize is essential for life.
Right. So they say just do the opposite of whatever they tell you. You'll be fine. And simplify it. See, the problem is like you, I could sit here and talk about cellular biology till the cows come home.
Yeah.
I could talk about how come this particular proton makes it through this particular membrane and helps spin up ATP synthesis and create ATP, and then I could do all that. I lose the audience in a minute. That's people don't want to know why. God, it makes me crazy, and I'm sure it does you too.
Oh,
I want to tell them why. They don't want to know why. They want to know, well, just tell me what to do. All right?
Yeah,
go like this. Breathe through your nose. Take that.
You want to cut the steak and feed it to them.
Yeah. So
how much do I eat? How much do I do? Like,
yeah. So it's more productive in this environment when you're not teaching scientists. And I keep falling into this trap to not teach science, but just say breathing is really important, and here's how you should be breathing, and that's one of the things that you need to do besides a good diet. And here's another thing: you need to get the stress out of your life. You need to find a way to relax. You need to get out in the sun. You need to get.
I don't want to go too far. Like, I don't think that you need to get the stress out of your life. You just need to be able to cope with it better. All right, because there's always going to be. I mean, you need stresses as well. You need to be. I mean, if you have a look at the polyvagal chart, you have like the dorsal vagal state, and you have fight or flight, and then you have the ventral vagal state, which is like rest and digest for recovery and things like that. But you need to be able to utilize all of these, because I mean, like, if you didn't have that sort of that drive, that cortisol sort of waking you up in the morning. I mean, everyone would just like, don't worry about it, it's all cool. We'll just go to the beach and smoke a joint, like you wouldn't do anything, right? But, you'd probably follow ducks around the canals all
Rick's
day.
Laughing, Rick's going, well, Rick's leaning back saying, that about sums it up.
That sums it up. But you need to be able to control those different nervous states, like, you need stresses, and and there's always going to be
do. Of course, you got to get off the.
You can't avoid that.
Yeah, I agree. You got to get off the rock and go out and kill the big animal. You can't just lay around. And when I say stress, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, if you're living with somebody that nags all the time and aggravates you and causes you to have anxiety attacks, then you need to cut that shit out of your life. Normal life. The normal stresses of life really are basically don't get eaten. Just don't get eaten. Stay out of shark-infested waters these days. And if you get a report of a black bear in your neighborhood, keep your eye open. Number one, and get laid. Those are the two driving forces. Now, come on, Rick. All right, Rick doesn't want to get laid, but all Okay, we know.
Rick has never been laid.
Well, I wouldn't brag about that, but that's okay. That's okay. Rick, you can rest assured. Let me tell you something, Rick. You can rest assured you go to sleep tonight. We have all men here. It's a sausage fest today. You can rest assured and go to sleep at night in the knowledge that your old Uncle Mitch has gotten laid enough for you, every other guy on this panel, and then some. So there you go. Because I got to make sure. I got to take up the slack. So I've had a very colorful life. Let's just put it that way. At any rate, DC, that's I agree with you on everybody the science that you're saying. I honest to God, I do. I have found, unfortunately, that if I just talk about it in terms of biochemistry, I don't help anybody, and
you lose people.
You lose people. You lose people, I mean, and I could sit and talk to you. See,
I see that a lot, but
see, I can have a conversation with you for days.
Yeah. Oh,
about that kind of stuff, and it fascinates me. And
me
I had to learn it the hard way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, myself too. I mean, I was the same, but I mean, yeah, I'm really fascinated by this stuff, and it's really incredible. Like, even, I mean, this is the thing. Like, diet is, yes, a big thing, but it's only a part of the journey, right? And people don't understand that it's only. I mean, you don't have to make big changes in life either. Like, I'm not saying that you need. I mean, 30 minutes a day, like in the morning, and 30 minutes a night, like, it's not really a big commitment, you know. But you know, there's people that are having trouble with their diet and they get stuck. They have these plateaus they want to get past and things like that. They're not. I mean, they're always trying to tweak their diet. They don't think about lifestyle changes, you know, except for the diet. And there's so much more to it, you know, like natural light, grounding, and you know, like cold therapy and breath work. These are all things that these are great tools that you're just being in nature that have a biochemical reaction in the body that your body needs. That these are all things that actually are essential for your body to function properly.
Well, there's also there's also movement. They've got to move, whether it's walking.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to be a runner.
Your lymphatic system is perfect proof of that. I mean, without movement, your lymphatic system can't push the lymph fluid around. So, right. I mean, everything is based on movement in the human body. We are built to move, and that's something I've always said. Is like, but there's just, I mean, there's only small changes. So there's only small things like get outside, go do some movement. You know, like, you don't have to go to the gym, or you don't have to go to, you know, do a heap of, you know, athletic work and that sort of. Just walk is good, or just sit and do some breath work outside. And you know, it's really not a big time commitment. And when you think about what you lose in health later on if you don't do these things, you know, it's a good investment. And you don't have to spend any money doing it.
How do we get into this conversation anyway? What were we talking about? What were we talking? We were talking about eating carbs.
Yeah.
We were talking about the need to not be a pure carnivore and add carbs in, and that about we're talking about Lisa Wiedemann's video of today. And I think after we've all seen that, maybe we can comment on some of that.
I think that, like, just from just from my standpoint, if you have just looking at like the difference between carbohydrates and fats and meat, I mean, look at some of the most important fluids in the body, for example, or gases like CO2, for example. You get more CO2 from meat, so why would you bother wasting your time with carbohydrates?
People aren't going to analyze that. That makes things too. I don't want to disagree with you. I want to say that it's correct, but nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in the real world.
And I think that the biggest thing part about these, you know, like people like Salad Boy and like some of these other tosses that say like they need to have all this sugar and stuff. Like the
Honey.
fact is that people want their sugar addictions validated. That's why they're so
Of
popular.
course, I just said exactly that in talking about why I was so easy for me to want to take these guys seriously. Because any excuse to eat carbs, my subconscious is right there. Because that's what a carb addict does. Negotiates with his own subconscious, who's throwing lame ass excuses at you. Well,
exactly.
listen, it's okay, Mitch. It's okay. Go ahead and binge. This will be the last time. We promise I'm not going to do it again. We're going to start the diet again. And we've all done that. That's what an addiction is. That's how the subconscious. Rick, why do you keep waving your finger?
I'm the exception to all the rules.
Well, okay, but do me a favor. Do me a favor. Will you please? Don't do that. Don't ever do that in front of my face.
His fingers are so
Or
long.
I will absolutely ban you from this channel. Because I had a teacher when I was a kid that used to do this to me all the time, and I wanted to kill her. And every time you do that, I see the face of that bitch in my head, and I want to kill you. I want to wrap my hands around your neck and strangle you and say, quit telling me I'm a bad boy and what I need to do.
All right, no.
But I love you, Rick. I love you. You know I love it.
Oh, my God. That's so funny.
No
The
Bible.
feeling is mutual.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. No, at any rate,
Well, what
Where
they're
was
trying to
I?
do, Mitch, what's Saladino's, and look, Salad Boy will say, oh, and my son is 31, he's ripped, and he does pretty much almost carnivore, he's probably keto, but he loves Salad Boy, right? He just absolutely thinks he's like so he's like, Dad, you can have some honey and some fruit and maple syrup, and I'm like, Michael,
300 grams a day.
Well, I'm like, Michael,
I was diabetic. What are you talking about?
That's what I said. I said, Michael, your dad was a former diabetic, and I'm a sugar addict. Okay, so maybe you, just like Mitch always says, Mitch could have one drink and spit it out. He could care less. He hates this stuff. But
Yeah, I would never become an alcoholic. I hate it.
But right, so Mitch can't comment to an alcoholic about alcoholism because he doesn't have that disease, So when Michael's like, "Oh, Dad, it's no big deal," like, yes, it is. I can't have cookies. I can't have chocolate. I will literally.
If you knew what I mean, even the cleanest honey, even the cleanest honey is minimum 40% fructose. Like worst
of course
you can
it
introduce
is.
to your liver.
I mean, put it this way: there is inside the store where I work, they have this thing called the KC Cafe, and they bake cookies 4 times a day. They're constantly cooking these things.
But wait,
and
the best part is, Peter, how much?
You know what the smell of cookies?
How much do they cost, Peter? How much do they cost, the cookies?
Yeah, I know this is the best one.
Nothing.
No, they give them to their customers, keeps them in the store, and they come in for free. Yeah,
free for not only the customers, for any of us. If I want to walk up and have 10 cookies, I can walk right up.
Isn't that great?
And
do they have a corner boy in there too? Do they have a guy giving away cocaine?
Yeah.
Right, so
it's the same thing, isn't it? They're just drug dealers, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're all drug dealers. If you got a sugar dealer there, get a few corner guys, put them in the corner where they can huddle and people can come up and they can pass each other packets and money.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal I had to make with myself. I know myself. I have been there about a month. I have walked past those cookies. And I have said to myself, if I eat one cookie, I know what's going to happen.
You're done.
I will always be eating cookies.
You're done.
Eat 5-6 cookies a day, every day.
Especially when you have that available. That's
If they're always there. That's why you can't live with some people can't live with other people in the same house because they will not respect you. They will always eat right in front of you.
Right.
They always eat right in front of you.
They're enticing it.
Of course they are.
For free,
But that's people. I don't. You probably know me well enough by now to know that my opinion of the average human on this planet is very low.
Oh yeah, me too.
Very low, and getting lower every day.
Out of YouTube, it's getting much lower actually. you see some of the stupid garbage you see on YouTube and people talking absolute nonsense.
And YouTube is the good part. You go to TikTok.
I'm not even going to, I won't even bother with that.
So I want to talk a little bit today about this stuff going on with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay.
No.
But he's been in intensive care for over a month.
Oh, okay.
Well, and we're getting the information from Michaela, his daughter,
How old is
who,
he?
he's about 60 something, maybe.
Yeah.
I think he's in his upper 60s or maybe 70.
No, I don't even know if he's that old. I think he may be younger. I'll tell you real quick.
He's only 5 years older than me.
Hang on a
I think
second.
he's 65.
How old is Jordan Peterson?
No, he's like 63.
Oh, 63.
63.
Is 63
So
years
he's my
Okay.
age. He's my same age as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
Oh,
a young
he's
man.
born at-
Young man, and he's had a very, very checkered health career. So his daughter comes on, and they have no idea what it is. They have no idea what it is. They think it's some kind of sepsis or some type of infection, or it might be linked to some psychotropic drugs, some benzos, some things like that he's been taking.
You say maybe
They don't know
mold?
whether he's taken them or not. Oh, he's always had mental problems. He's been a mess all his life. He's
No,
been
I
highly.
mean mold.
Mold.
Most
Oh,
of
oh,
it.
and then they said it might be exposure to mold,
Yeah.
and then Michaela comes out and said, and basically this is a summary of what she said, and it could be evil spirits.
Yeah.
She said that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She said that's a
That's what I heard.
could be a spiritual cause, and and then, which is why everybody has to pray for him to make the evil spirits go. So lunacy, once again, rears its ugly head. I don't want to talk anti-religion, but I mean, come on, and let's get real about it. The guy's got a medical problem. Is there a doctor that can figure it out? I
Mitch,
don't know.
Mitch, I have the answer. We need to just burn some sage and do some circles around him.
Well, but you know what? You can't say that. I can't. I hate to come out and even mention the fact that I think that it's absurd. But so many people out there think that that's what we need, an exorcism. Not medicine, and you can't stop people like that, and you can't talk to them. But the problem and the reason I do not watch Jordan Peterson anymore, and I haven't probably for 6 months, is just that kind of shit. Always coming out of his mouth. I watched, the last Jordan Peterson thing that I watched was him and Richard, what's his name? Dawkins? Christopher Dawkins? What's his name? Big atheist, big atheist guy, professor. You know what I'm talking about?
Dawkins?
And what?
Was it Dawkins?
Dawkins, maybe, yeah.
Hitch?
Something Dawkins,
I
yeah.
don't remember.
I don't
think it's
watch a lot of this. I don't watch a lot of stuff, but it was the two of them.
Yeah.
And Dawkins kept boxing Jordan Peterson into a corner. And Jordan just always bullshitted his way, wheeled his way out of it with the typical answers that those people do, and they're claiming that their religious views are real, and you're a heathen and an atheist, and I just can't watch anybody who thinks that all the answers to everything, including our health and what we ate for dinner yesterday, are written 2,000 years ago in the book of Genesis. I'm sorry. My mind doesn't work that way. I don't try to tell people they're wrong, but I never have believed that. I never will believe that, and that's me.
I mean, as far as I think our lifestyles, like 2,000 years ago, were much healthier. It's just meat and fresh air, working outside in the sun.
Of course it was. It was healthier because we didn't. It's what we had.
Yeah,
It's why
that's right.
we're the way we are.
So I
But,
think everything was provided for us. I think this is the problem with people is that they're arrogant enough to think that they can make their own food and stupid enough
yeah,
to eat
I
it.
know it. It's absolutely funny. It's pretty well known that in beef alone, there's got to be at least 50,000 different unique compounds. Okay,
Yeah.
so who's to say that compound number 45,234 isn't necessary for human life, and we haven't even discovered what it is yet because we can't identify all of those things, but we know they're there.
But the
Then
things we
along
do
comes
know,
the- then
are that,
along-
like,
along-
there are 22 essential amino acids that we can't get from anywhere else except meat.
Well, there's 10.
Well,
10
22
essential,
total.
10 essential. No, the word I don't want to correct you, but I try to be consistent. The word essential amino acid means it has to be exogenous. We can manufacture the other amino acids, but the essential ones. That's why when you say there's no essential carbohydrates, it doesn't mean the body can live without a carbohydrate. We can manufacture it.
Yeah.
Essential means you better be eating it. It better be right. It better be in your food. And yeah, there's some people say 20, some people say 21, some people say 22 amino acids. Everything is made out of amino acids. People, if you understand basic biology and protein synthesis, and how proteins are made out of the amino acids and where the instructions come from and the genetics, and how they're transmitted to the cell cytoplasm of the cells, where a ribosome grabs onto it and creates a peptide chain of all the different amino acids in the right order, and then because of forces of nature, these chains start to fold up and wrap themselves around each other and come together and form an actual machine that does physical work powered by ATP. I've been fascinated by that since I was 2 years old. People don't need to understand things to that level. It's fascinating, but
yeah, it is fascinating. But you're
you
right.
don't
you're
need
right.
to understand
you don't
it
need to know that stuff, really.
to be a carnivore. You know,
It's
you
actually
need.
very simple, and we tend to overthink everything too. I'm really bad for overthinking everything I do as well. But I mean, when it comes to food and lifestyle, it really is the simple life is the healthiest. You know, like
It's so
meat,
eas's that's
drink
the thing,
water,
and I keep
get
trying to
outside and
simplify
move.
it, and I keep going down rabbit holes too. So I mean, I want people, because when you know, and DC, you're the same way I am. When you know why at such a deep level, you're more and more convinced that there can be no other truth.
Yeah.
When people just hear it from some guy on the street or some guy on YouTube, they're not convinced. But when you actually understand it, and the problem we have in today's society and in today's medicine, most of the practitioners and professionals are never taught this stuff at this level. They don't know. Then they're in an industry that's so highly regulated by the money that they have no incentive to want to know. They don't have the time to want to know. They're busy filling out insurance company paperwork. You forgot.
Yeah, but Mitch, here's my argument. They don't need to know in this environment. Okay, where they're so regulated that even if they knew and agreed with you 1,000%, Mitch, and they knew all this biology, they still have to do what the practice tells them to do. So I get you, but in the end, they're still going to have to prescribe the same medicine that someone has a high LDL and blah, 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 blah.
Or quit medicine. And some of them have actually, their consciences have finally learned enough to get out of it. Or become a carnivore doctor and risk their license, you know.
But
glad I'm
for
not
them
a
to
doctor.
stay in their practice, they don't need to know. It doesn't matter. Because they're just got to do what they got to do.
Actually, I'm just looking at the comments here. Like, the Kilt's talking about eating fish and stuff. I have never, like, he's saying, like, he's changing his carnivore, he's going straight away from. I've always said you need more than just beef. You need to have a range of fats in your diet.
Unless you have a medical condition like, say, Jordan Peterson or his daughter did, where you have to eliminate everything but beef. I don't agree with this. I agree with it for 90 days. See, that's the problem.
Well, I don't. I think
if
this
you
is another
can't,
problem people have as well. When they say, okay, just try it for 30 days, just try it for 90 days, sort of thing. Like people, if you do such a dramatic diet change, like you go from a standard Western diet to a carnivore diet, for example, depending on, even like if you're a vegan and you had a clean diet or so on, which is not going to be vegan anyway, but sometimes it might take you 12 months or longer for your body to adjust, and you need that time. Otherwise, you're going to destroy your gut biome. Right? You need time to transition onto the carnivore diet or onto any diet change. You need time for that transition for your body to adjust. Yeah, especially if you've been 40 odd years on the standard Western diet, you have to give your body time. You can't just make it like, okay, 30 days and it didn't work. Well, of course it didn't. You're going to have problems.
well,
and that's simple.
yeah, that's a conversation that could take hours and hours and hours to go down all the rabbit holes that are there. Because the minute you start talking about gut biome, don't get me started on the gut biome. Don't get me started. Because we'll be here for hours, and everybody will have smoke coming out of their ears when we're done, including me probably. There's enough advice that I think is safe in the carnivore community now among the big influencers, because let's face it, they're the ones that people will listen to. How many people do you hear come on and say, well, how'd you get started in carnivore? Well, I was presented a Ken Burry video. It came up in my feed. I'd never heard of him or any of this stuff, and it piqued my interest. Okay, because those are the guys. They didn't say, well, I happened upon this bald-headed old fart named OldGuyCarnivore, and no, nobody credits me. They credit Dante Ferrigno with the lion diet. They credit Ken Burry. They credit Anthony Chafee, and of course Sean Baker, because he wrote the book, The Carnivore Diet. He actually coined the name.
Yeah.
Even though carnivore is nothing new, he made a diet out of it.
Yeah.
Sugar was nothing new, but somebody just made a diet out of it. So at any rate, these guys, all of them, are realists, and they're not telling people you have to give up everything. So many of them are saying you need to work your way into it. You need to go low carb first for a while, and then you go keto for a while. I don't think this ketovore is anything we should. We have too many names, too many divisions, too many different. What the hell's the difference between 10 grams of carbs a day or 20 grams of carbs a day? Both of those numbers are insignificant amounts of carbs. And you're not accurate anyway. So I think the ketovore is a great marketing thing, and it's great fodder for conversation and videos. And Nisha Burry, as much as I admire her, is very proud of that, and they keep talking about it. But I think we need to simplify it a little more. You're either low carb or you're carnivore. And low carb, anything under 50 grams a day is low carb. If you want to be ketogenic, yeah, that's a different story. But not everybody's goal is to try to control their own ketosis, which is why I'm so against exogenous ketones and ketone meters and ketone measuring and this and that, worrying and peeing on strips.
Completely unnecessary. Yeah, I agree. Like that's one of the biggest things too. People start the carnivore diet and they're all worried about being in ketosis. Like you're not meant to be in ketosis 24 hours a day.
No.
When it's supposed to go, it fluctuates, and they just get so obsessed with these numbers, and it's like they never bothered with it before. Why bother with it now?
They're obsessed with the numbers because they're obsessed with weight loss, which they shouldn't be as well.
Exactly.
But why else do people go on diets in our society? To lose weight? That's all they care about.
Yeah. Well, this is another thing. This is another thing that bothers me too, is that they think that weight loss is all about diet. But do you know how you lose fat? You breathe it out. It comes out.
Absolutely.
It's carried by the CO2 molecule. when you breathe it out, CO2, it carries the fat with you. Out of every 10 kilos of body fat you lose, 8.4 kilos of that is actually breathed out. The other 1.6 comes out in easy water like sweat and defecation and things like that. But the only thing they're consistently worried about is what you eat. Or you've got to lose weight to, you got to.
You gotta look good. Got to look
Yeah,
good.
sure.
Billy Crystal, the comedian Billy Crystal, I think is one of the wisest men on the planet when he had this character, Fernando. Remember Fernando?
You look
Fernando, he
marvelous.
says, it's better to look good than to feel good.
Yeah.
You look marvelous,
You look
darling.
marvelous,
Marvelous. Yeah,
darling.
yeah. And I mean,
And that's exactly right. I was the same. Like when I was younger, like when I was diagnosed, I looked good. I was fit and I was lean. You know, I was a strength coach. I was living in Japan, and then I came over here to Australia, and I was stage 4 follicular lymphoma.
oh, wow.
I had my kidneys. I was stage 3 kidney disease. I had failing liver. I had a large tumor wrapped around my aorta. But I was fit and I was lean, and I was still fitter than most of the people around me.
Yeah, you probably looked pretty good, too.
But I did actually. I looked pretty good, but I was dying, and I had less than 3 months to live.
Josephine C. asked, what's your next live? What's your next live?
Oh, my next live. I was going to do one this weekend actually, but I just didn't get around to it. Actually, maybe next week.
All right, that's the best closest you're going to get. Listen, guys, it's coming up on 8:30, an hour and a half, more than enough of me
This was a
and the rest of us for this morning, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. Listen, thanks so much, and DC's been great having you here.
Yeah, it's good.
Really enjoyed it, and hope to see more of you. I hope to see more of you. All right, you take care of yourself. I'll let you guys say goodbye and drop out, and I'll play some music. And a quack. Correct. Quack, quack.
Y'all have a good day.
Yep. And by the way, you had the most accurate description of Joey. Very good, man.
Oh man, if there's one thing I know, Rick, it's psychology. You can't fool. Nobody can fool me. Nobody can con me anymore. I see right through all of it. That's age. That's age. That's nothing.
Right.
It's not anything you learn. It's just you're either perceptive or you're not. So
Exactly.
at any rate, well, hey, thanks for coming today.
Right.
All right, we'll see you next time, buddy. Pet the iguanas for me. Okay, and that'll do it. So lively show is a great hour and a half this morning. Thanks to everybody that came in. I really enjoyed it. Michael Pregler says Billy Crystal on soap was awesome. Joseph he says awesome. Mitch, thank you so much. Yeah, it was a tough crowd to rein in today. I had to keep reining them in. It ain't easy to do. But it stoked me up. We had a great conversation. I don't know if we actually solved any problems, but hopefully it was interesting and maybe a little informative and educational for people. You could take something actionable away from this, and that's the key. That's the only thing that's important to us. Is there anything that I just heard, anything that got me thinking in any way that gives me something actionable? Or is it just food for thought? Can I actually use any of this in a practical manner? And that's what I'm always looking for. And I talk about that. I think I might be the only one. As I listen to everybody, including me, I guess, with all this intellectual analysis and science and everything, I say, well, that's all well and good, but what do I do with it? I'm here for help. I'm here for suggestions of ways to make this easier, simpler, and better for me. What do I do with all that stuff? I find it hard because, to me, all that stuff is fascinating as hell. And sometimes people have to slap me in the face and say, Mitch, what do I do with all that? So I hope you found something actionable, something that might help you improve change a little bit what you're doing. Jem says, Mitch, thank you so much. I get up for you and only you. Thank you, Jem. That's so sweet. I really appreciate that. Brian says, enjoy the rest of the day. Everybody's saying goodbye to all the panel. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great rest of the weekend. I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And until then, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.